Boop 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 do 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 boop 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 do do. I made the title too long, so I can't tell how many people are watching the show. There we go. It's time for the show. It's time for the show. When are we gonna do the show? When are we gonna do the show? Had to disconnect the microphone for a second there. What's up, everybody? What's going on? 'Cause it's Friday. Yeah. What is it like Friday the 19th of July. Welcome to the show on my YouTube channel. That's right. I was a YouTuber. I had somebody recently trash talking the idea that somebody was a YouTuber, right? So, shout out to all the people in the world that think it's like super degrading to be like, that's somebody that's just a YouTuber. It's like, yeah, it's also how millions of people are able to upload stuff that they know about, right? And here on this channel, we talk about all sorts of things, mainly focused on aquariums and stuff like that. And sometimes I get heavily distracted by things that are going on around me, things that I have going on inside me, and sometimes we talk about random stuff. That's why it's a live stream. It's a long format show. We sit down, we hunker down for like, I don't know, however long. And then we do the show. Now, some of you out there are on the Patreon, and I want to give a shout out to everybody who has joined up to the brand new Discord, which I don't know if you guys have ever been to Discord, but that's just a chat. It's a chat format type deal that people can live chat. We have returned. We've gone back to the old school. We have a live chat open 24 hours a day now on the Discord. But you know, there has to be a point of entry. So I put the Discord and linked it in with the Patreon. So if you become a patronizer, a Patreon member, then you can get onto the Discord. That's just to be honest with you guys, that's kind of how the world works these days. And yeah. So that's what's up. But shout out to everybody on there. I want to do, let's see, who was on there? Hold on. I have to move that out of the way. Here we go. Let's see. Who do we got so far on the Discord? We got Alana Suki. We've got Bentley Pascal. We got Pugman. We got Robert the Butcher. Alyssa Bentley. Bass, 1974. Byron. Daryl Deemer. False Ragnarok. French Toast. Jared RB. Karen. Renman, Rumbust, Safer, Sopaloco, the Fish Tank Barn, and Yara. So those are the quick adopters over to the Discord. Also, you know, kind of want to like open up a space that people that can feel a little a little more, not necessarily like open or anything like that, but not necessarily like posting a comment onto YouTube and then all of a sudden having, 50 people chew you out because random people being cray. Big D Smoke is asking, how do I get on the Discord? The Discord, you'll be able to go over onto the Patreon. And those of you that are wondering, I will be posting the Discord eventually to the members, the people that have so graciously become members onto YouTube. Realistically, it's such a short list of people that make it really viable. It's the viability issue of being able to like do YouTube stuff, being able to produce things and make videos and do all this kind of stuff. It's a short list of people. It's basically boils down to the members that became members on YouTube, and I'm doing my best to try and add more stuff for the people that that kind of, you're like voting with your dollar. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where that's relatable to the older crowd, which would be like NPR. It's like NPR does that. They do the funding thing every year because a lot of the funding to be able to do NPR and stuff like that. That to the older crowd and the younger crowd, you guys already know what I'm talking about. You guys know what it is. It's, Patreon and memberships and stuff like that on YouTube. And then one of the things I'm going to be doing is we're going to start doing some live streams for Patreon. They're going to go straight to Patreon, and then I will also post the link for it for members also. But yeah, Cheshire Cat says haven't been on Patreon this week, so I don't know about the Discord. I just went up this morning, or the middle of the day, or I have no idea what time it is anymore. I have no clue what time it is anymore. But it was sometime today. So, Shelby Ray says I still haven't figured out Patreon out. Yeah. So if you guys go over to Patreon, if you are just from $1 a month up, you can get onto the Discord, and it will link up, and then you can go over to Discord and it'll load up. It'll load up your stuff, and then you can chat in there. It's it's a pretty basic program. Like, one of the downsides of it is like whoever programs it is super quirky. That like came up with the idea, but it's the basic stuff. You can also you can also audio chat and stuff like that. So there might come a time where I might do some stuff on Discord that's just straight up talking to the Discord people. I might be doing that, and yeah, and whatnot. But I might be doing that. I'm not sure. I don't have any plans on that, but I do have been incorporating the streaming software and stuff like that into Patreon. So I'm probably going to start doing some pretty specific Patreon type streams that they may vary topically, but most of the people that are on Patreon are literally, that's that focused group of people that want to learn about plants and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to be doing some demos and things like that, because the way that YouTube is now, like if you just get too many like live streams, you get too many videos coming out and all that kind of stuff, like it basically boils down to this. Like, let's say you put up 10 videos a week, like YouTube expects, like the robots at YouTube expect you to put out 10 videos a week forever, right? And if you suddenly like 1 week is all screwed up, you drop down to 6 or something, and it's like, oh, well, sorry about that. We're just gonna have to throw you in the trash now. And the way YouTube like weighs live streams versus produced videos is very odd. So, ooh, that's the first time that's happened. That was the end of the washing machine cycle. But you know, the way that YouTube like kind of weighs things, whether it's a live stream or a produced videos or whatnot, it's getting very confusing and stuff. So I'm just going to kind of start spreading out the stuff and just stick to the kind of the schedule here. And as we come up throughout the summer, I don't have a whole lot of plans to produce or to actually like release produced videos. I'm probably going to be releasing produced videos starting in the fall. That's probably so, throughout the summer, I'm going to do my best to show up for the scheduled streams and stuff like that. But some slight changes are going to be happening just to kind of spread out the love and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So we're just going to keep rocking and rolling, but, that kind of stuff. Warren Williams says, Fish for Thought just set up a Discord as well. Well, that's awesome. We probably should have combined forces. I should have. But then again, it would be confusing as to like who was on what Discord and what's going on. But yeah, Discord's just like it's like a cool chat application. It works pretty well. A lot of gamers know what it is because if you're online, it's a great thing to kind of be going back and forth and that kind of stuff. And it's just it's a live chat space that you can, set up a bunch of channels in it. So you can kind of stay topical. So, I set up just the first 5 little channels that are in the Discord. General is just sort of general. I mean, it's in the name, right? There's one that's news and politics. There's one art subjects. There's one that's video creation for the future. So maybe if you have an idea or something like that and you can't figure out like how to communicate it to me, or maybe you don't want to post it in public or whatever, for whatever reason, post that up there. And then there is a live stream channel on there, and I would honestly, the live stream would be, let's say that something happens in the live stream or something that you wanted to comment in the live stream, or maybe your live chat got missed or something. You could copy and paste it and pop it in there. And I might have moderators like do that at some point in time. Like if something gets missed or there was something that was going on because the chat's scrolling by and going crazy. So, I just think it's another like kind of benefit for everybody, to be able to have just another way to kind of communicate. And maybe it's Saturday and nobody's really doing anything. Hey, you could pop into the Discord and say hi to everybody and see who's around and what's going on, get some chats going. So that was one of the big things that I had for a long time on the old website was live chat. So we had a live chat in there all the time that was open 24 hours a day. At the time, Discord didn't exist. So, I think the crazy thing is that like Discord's pretty much hosted for free. I'm not even sure if I pay for it or not. Like, I think it might, I don't know. I'm not sure if I pay for Discord or not. I should probably check. I don't think so, but, it might be just incorporated with, because I have a Patreon. I don't know. It's one of those things. Fish Lover says, do you have to pay extra for Discord? Discord is free for the Patreon people and members and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just one of the perks, basically. I don't know. I've always been the kind of person that's like, I want everything to have just like no point of entry, like as far as the cost goes. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, like there really isn't any money now in advertising. So, unless you have a channel that's getting 50 million views, 100 million views a month or something like that, like there's not a ton of AdSense money out there. It's like, it just isn't, I see Bentley in the chat, so hopefully he doesn't mind. But we did have a bit of a conversation is just like how much AdSense is. And the reality is we have 81 members on this channel, right? So you guys think I have 1,050 something videos on my channel right here. And we were talking about like how much money it makes and that kind of stuff. And, just in a reality of the thing. And, I'll put it this way. I have like 1,000 videos up that get watched all the time. I mean, I don't get a ton of views, so anybody could really suss out what was going on. I don't get a ton of views, but you know, the 81 people that are members on this channel, that amount of money outshines any of the ad money. It's always less than that, which is, you know, it's kind of the weird thing. You know, it's like they limited who could get members on their channel. You have to have, I think, over 30,000 or 50,000 or something like that. I luckily have had my channel for so long that, you know, we petitioned them and they were like, oh, okay, we add your membership button. You know, sort of like, hey, you're below the threshold, but you got a ton of stuff going on here, so okay. And I don't expect that to work out for anybody else. I don't even know if that would be possible, but it was kind of an interesting thing, but it's also one of those things. And I would like everything to be free, but it really has, you know, it just has one of those. It's unfortunate. I wish everything was just free and we could all just have everything, but I don't know. Bentley says it makes like $2 a video. And I think the reality here, like, you know, I think I make between like $3 and $8 a video. So, and you know, this isn't like some kind of sob story or any of that kind of stuff. That's not my intention. It's just the reality of kind of the situation is that, like, if I make between $3 and $8, that for a long period of work, you know, I mean, if it takes like 5 hours to make something, you know, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills. It's just not going to happen. So you know, and that's the unfortunate thing, is having to make a decision about, like, do I want to keep making the thing that I like making or be homeless? You know, and it's, you know, that's kind of just like one of the deals. So I guess, I don't know, starting out with my gratitude thing right out the gate, but thanks to everybody out there. Donald's Fish 5 says, do I have merchandise and t-shirts for sale? Yeah, we do have we have a Teespring account. I don't normally bring up the Teespring account or anything like that because here's the thing, like, it does come down. That's a perfect example of something coming down to money, right? Is that, so Teespring, like, makes the shirts and stuff like that, and they give you the pitch that, like, oh, we'll make your shirts and we send them out, and you'll make, you know, so they'll sell them for like $22, I think. It's like $21.99 or something like that. And then, you know, the pitch is when you sign up that you make like $8 a shirt, and you're like, oh, well, I could sell like 10 shirts and make like $80. Oh, cool. That's actually really cool. Now, here's the thing. If you went there and bought a shirt, the first time you went there, the creator would make like $8. Now, the next time you release, like, let's say your creator releases a new shirt, right? They send out an automatic email that you have released a new product. Then anybody that clicks through that link and goes and buys a shirt, you get $1.35 instead of $8. The creator does. So somebody explained that whole situation to me, because it's bizarre, because they're like, oh yeah, well, we got your customer to come buy the new thing that you made, so, you know, we get the referral for what? It's super weird. So it's just, you know, we have a Teespring, and as soon as I found out that was what was going on, I kind of was like, all right, screw this. This is nuts. And so one of the things I did was I spoke with with Corey from Aquarium Co-op, who is our affiliate sponsor, whom, you know, his affiliate rates, our affiliate referral rates don't change, which is cool. You know, I basically get like a small percentage of the sale if you guys buy stuff from Aquarium Co-op. That's a full disclosure. You know, yes, I do if you guys click through the links and that kind of stuff, and it is a referred sale, then we do make money from Aquarium Co-op. And you guys do know I also do work with Aquarium Co-op. But what I was talking about was I spoke with them. I spoke with him and the T-shirt guys that do T-shirts for Aquarium Co-op. They're a local company. They're called Pork Chop Press. They're awesome. The crazy thing is like I used to cook those guys lunch all the time. So they're a really cool company. And yes, we're going to print some shirts at some point in time where it is where or when it's more or less a good idea. So it's probably be closer to the end of the year. You know, the summertime is not that. It's not that busy during the summertime. A lot of people are out skateboarding and hanging out at the beach and stuff like that right now. So by the end of the year, we're probably just going to print some really high quality shirts, and then you guys could just buy them from Aquarium Co-op. Right? So if you're in the U.S., you'd be able to get them. Now, international people, I've talked to a bunch of different T-shirt companies that are out around the world, and every single time it freaked me out. I was like, this is the most bizarre stuff. No, like, you know, so I have not been able to figure out something that was, unless it was something that was, what's the word? I couldn't find anything that was just that sounded like a good idea. Like there's a lot of companies that wanted way too much personal information and stuff like that, I guess, if that makes sense. It's Nature Man says, we have been making our own shirts at the rental store for about $5 each. Yeah, it depends on how many colors are in the shirt and like what the quality is and stuff like that. The quality of the shirt, how much the shirt costs initially. So I know it's one of those things, like you guys can research it yourselves, but I do know like the purchase price of a good quality t-shirt, not like the crummy ones. You can get cheaper ones, but I think it's about $6, and then the whole printing process and all that kind of stuff is like, I forget. I don't want to misquote any companies out there, but let's say it's just the shirt was $6, the printing was $5, and then you know you got to pay the taxes and the processing, blah blah blah, that kind of nonsense, and then you got to pay the shipping and the shipper person and all that. So you know, if I'm selling them out of Aquarium Co-op, yes, those guys have to make money too to pay the that kind of stuff. And so I think it worked out to like, I think I would make like $6 a t-shirt or $7 a t-shirt or whatever it was. I forget. But I was like, oh, that's way better. And also it would help pay some of the wages for the people at Aquarium Co-op, really. You know, if you think about it, it's like, oh, those guys would be processing the t-shirts and getting paid and health insurance and all that cool stuff. So that would make me feel better about the whole thing. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, wait a minute, Teespring pays out blah, blah, blah. And then later on they decide, never mind. Oh, sorry. I was double checking my phone because it had a bunch of alerts going off. And I was like, wait a minute, is Vicky okay? Because they're upstairs, so everything's fine. Got a brand new Patreon during the show. Warren. Welcome, Warren. Thanks, brother. But yeah, you know, yeah, I guess I'm just talking about a bunch of weird stuff that just doesn't really apply to fish tanks or anything like that. But it is Friday, so we will have a bunch of topics coming up because of the Patreon people, because those are the questions we answer on Friday. So let me figure out what. Oh, hold on, I have to click over here and scroll this way down because I'm unfortunately I'm all the way at the top, and I don't want to be all the way at the top. And now I'm just realizing that if I'm trying to read from the Patreon over there, the microphone stand arm is right in the way. I wonder if I can move it. That's how you know the show is live. I literally had to move the screen. There we go. That's all right. I think we could all feel comfortable with that setup. So yeah, the Patreon is a great spot to post stuff, especially if you want it to be up on the show. Now we have the Discord, so maybe there's stuff that you're like, oh, I wanted to post it on there, but I didn't want Joel to talk about it during the show, that kind of stuff. Then we're definitely going to see, we're going to see how the Discord plus the Patreon plus putting it into the show. I honestly do. I feel like at some point in time, I want to start making edited videos in response to the specific Patreon posts. I don't know. I've been wildly busy doing stuff that I am unable to tell you guys about. So at some point in time, I'll be able to tell you guys why I've been super busy. But I'm basically can't tell you. But at some point in time, you will all know all about it. And I've been shooting tons and tons of video. I am just getting it all prepped and primed for kind of the fall time. I guess maybe like when the kids go back to school, then I'll start dropping some of those videos out, Let's see. Bentley Pascal's still waiting for his Spaceballs flamethrower. Big D Smoke says it's only like 72 in Tacoma. That is a good point. It's pretty reasonable temperature out today. I'm enthusiastic over that. The last few days I've been overheated working, which I can't tell you about. I wish the big secret was like the makerspace, but it's not. Rum Bust with an 1893 Swedish Krones super chat. Thank you, brother. Those of you keeping track, that's 1,893 days sober, and thanks for being cool, Rum Bust. He's like does a better job at keeping track on my sober days than I do almost at this point, which I think is kind of a good thing. I was talking with my mother. And she said, I was like, oh man, I don't know how good I am at keeping track of when I'm sober and when I'm not, or it's like, or how long I've been sober. There we go. Sorry, that came out weirdly wrong. But keeping track of how long I've been sober and that kind of stuff. And she had a really good point. She's like, isn't that the point? Isn't that the whole thing? Is that it just kind of just becomes your lifestyle? And that's the thing. It does realistically become, it just kind of becomes your lifestyle. So, Texas, that's it. Oh, where I'm from was 100 degrees on a regular basis. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind the hot weather, like, at times, but it's just too crazy. Camp Keenan does that. Make a video on Patreon questions. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of channels that make videos about Patreon questions and stuff. I mean, it's a great source of people to be able to ask very specific things. I think it's also a great source for things like this, where you can see Vince Grippa posted up his Shrimpin' Ain't Easy. Shrimpin' Ain't Easy stickers, which I don't know if you guys know. I wish I was more readily in the sticker game these days, but I'm a big fan of stickers. You guys will notice I hit the little heart button down here. I did see this when it went up, but I wait to hit the little heart button so that people know. Oh, at 3:33 p.m. on a Friday, that's when Joel was on there, so that, hey, maybe if they want to just see what their thing and what I talked about their thing, they can have a little timestamp when it sends them the little message. But these are awesome stickers, and I think you can get some of these stickers. I think you can get some. I think he posted a link. Vince says, I don't want to advertise on Joel's Patreon, but if you check Aquabid under fish-themed merchandise, you can find them. Let's hold on. Let's. Oh, where's the? That's the reply. I always, some reason, when I'm live in front of hundreds of people, I forget which is the reply button. Oh, I hate this keyboard. Feel free to post a link. I hate this keyboard. NK. Apostrophe. Apostrophoozles. There we go. Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully he'll post, Vince will most likely post a link up there, and then you guys could possibly get some Shrimp and Ain't Easy stickers, which and one of these days I'm going to have to get the Shrimp and Ain't Easy sticker. I kind of like this black and white one, too. That one's cool, too. That's my style right there, that black and white one. And, of course, the Shrimp and Ain't Easy. I don't know if I would ever stick the Shrimp and Ain't Easy to anything because I want to have it. Sometimes if you stick a sticker to something, it drives away, and you never see it ever again. And you're like, I'm so sad my sticker's gone. And we all get sad. Joel G's all the way out there in New Zealand says it's super winter, raining, storm, cold, lovely where I'm at. A. Oh, my guy. I'm sorry. It's winter where Mr. Gillett. I always say his name wrong. He sent me this long explanation of how to say it, and I realized I don't know how to talk. Like, I don't know how to talk good and do things good. But Gillot. I think I say Gillett like a hillbilly. But, you know. Trevor Crawford sent this in. Was wondering about any ideas how I can convert the CPR Backpack 2 protein skimmer into a fresh water hang-on back. It's made for salt water, but came with a Reef Nano Tank. I got it for free months ago. It came with a Powerhead mini current maker and heater inside. Any tips would help, like where to place a sponge filter and bio balls or media. I'm trying to remember exactly how this specific skimmer works. I think it's water in. Where's this? From the picture, it's hardly ringing a direct thing into my brain to go like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Here's what you got to do. But I mean, you could basically inlet outlet. I mean, you can see it's big enough to fit a heater. There's plenty of space in there. I think personally, like, if it was in my hands, I would probably know what to do. But here's the deal. It's not in my hands. We have a picture. So, excuse me, guys. I got like a hair or a cobweb or something on me. I don't know what that was. I think I got it. Okay. But, yeah. It's good. It's a good show when I'm wiping my face off and losing my mind. Anyhow, what I would do personally with this, if it was in my hands, I would probably know. Since it's not, here's the advice I would give. Pump water through it and figure out where the water goes in and where the water goes out. If we're talking about bio balls and that kind of stuff, bio balls go in the front. They want to be in the first stage. And one of the big reasons for that is it's normally the most oxygen-rich environment. And I am making a produced video about that specific to my sump and the Zeiss filter. If you guys don't have a Zeiss filter, I highly recommend going to get one because I'm very happy with how well it has worked. Oh, man, look at that. I have a link for it. Like ready. So here's a Zeiss filter link. Click on that link if you're wondering what filter I'm talking about. Obviously, as I've mentioned before, that will take you to the aquarium co-op. Buy your plants there. The plant we're going to talk about today is a Scarlet Temple. Now that I just mentioned it on the show, careful, everybody. It might be sold out, but the Scarlet Temple is what we're going to be talking about on the show here as we roll up to whereas we're coming up on the end when we do the video part, which is not right now, anyhow. But the Zeiss filter is where I'm really kind of getting that oxygen-rich the K1 media popping around in there, doing its flow, aerating, going in, and then that's leading over to my bio balls and my biological material, the sintered glass, the ceramic, whatever you want to call it, those little balls and stuff like that. That's all right there in the first chamber. Second chamber, you can end up going to, I put my filter floss and stuff like that after the fact because I find it really easy to just clean and shake off my bio balls or my biological ceramic media and stuff like that. It's really easy. I just get in there, shake it around. Most of that particulate heads that direction, gets picked up by the filter floss, which is what I wanted in the first place. I find that to be easy. A lot of people are using pre-filters these days on where the little sponge, it kind of looks like the sponge on this microphone, right? Put that onto the intake tube where it's drawing water in, and that's going to stop a lot of that particulate from going in. And I think if you're going that route, it's most likely going to make your filter floss last a little bit longer, but I find the biggest advantage for that is to keep little shrimps, little baby fish, anything like that ending up in the filter where you don't want them to be because it's just such close quarters. But it's hard to tell from this picture. I wish there was a background that could give us a better idea of what's going on, but this looks like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to make a statement that's just totally wrong, but I would run water through it, figure out which direction the water's going to go, and then bio balls first, filter floss second. That's oh, is that Ricardo's? Oh, that's Ricardo's. Oh, sorry. Well, good, Ricardo's here. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I got Trevor and Ricardo mixed up. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, it's Ricardo's post. Sorry. And there we go. I got Ricardo in there. But I think that's what I would do is I would just filter the water through, cycle the water through, figure out which way it actually is supposed to operate, and then just go from there. And then just mess with it, especially because you got the thing for free. Honestly, I don't know if you got it for free, but I've always gotten these in like a package deal, right? This kind of stuff. Like I went and bought a tank and a bunch of boxes of equipment or something like that. I've always ended up with these types of skimmers. And I actually have one in my garage. Maybe I could, maybe if I got some, I don't have any spare time, but maybe I could prioritize to go out there and mess around with one at some point in time soon. So if you're feeling really uncomfortable, maybe my new live stream setup for out in the shop. Oh no, spoiler alert. That's right. I've been working on my live stream setup for out in the shop. It's coming along. I'm not 100% happy with how it's working, but I am happy to say that I get enough light on whatever it is I'm working on. I haven't figured out a way to actually because I'm doing it from my phone, but I have full internet connection out there now. I've got that all the cable stuff run out there. And I can readily live stream from the shop. But getting the sound into the phone was a big thing, right? Getting the sound into the phone to sound a lot better. I've got that figured out. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to position and either carry the phone around or not carry the phone around. That's kind of really what I'm trying to figure out. And get that all sorted. But our next post is from Glenn Tusher. Oh, but Ricardo says, I got it for free, but with a nano reef tank. Yeah, I like I said, I always got those for free. So I always just kind of consider them to be free materials, and I just mess around with them and see what I can come up with. And like I said, if you're not feeling super comfortable about that, I do have one that I am going to be sort of making it out of. I'll be making something out of it, and so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes. I've got a $20 super chat from John Gonzalez. Says, you're number one in the fish nerd world. I contemplated on who my favorite fish YouTube guy or person was. It was you. I'm not an aquascaper. I'm more of a jungle plant guy. I learn a lot from you. This is simply respect. Well, thanks, John. I 100% appreciate that. I love jungle tanks. I guess my style is if you took a nature style aquarium, which, is pretty bushy, and you mixed in some of the skills and styling of like Iwagumi and things like that. Because I'm not one of those hardline guys that would lose his mind about like there's only supposed to be 5 stones in here, and I'm like, I mean, life is crazy short to lose your mind about how many stones are in an aquarium. I'm sorry. Shout out to Takahashi Amano. May he rest in peace. But there's a point where people start getting to get a little bit weird. You know what I mean? Stephen Calkins with a $2 super chat says, enjoy this free super chat that I have saved up. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I realized that like if you're on YouTube Premium, they let you bust out with some free super chats or something. Is that where it comes from? I think that's where they come from. Or maybe YouTube is just super generous. Oh, look at that crazy. I had a crazy eyebrow hair that was like going straight up. That was wild. But yeah, thank you very much for the free super chat. And thanks, John, for being so kind. I appreciate it. What's this? We got a thing going on. Oh, no. Okay. It's a new post, but we're not going to get it till next week. But this is from Glenn, who told me how to say his last name, and now that I'm live, I totally forgot how to say it. So, Glenn, I hope you have a good sense of humor, because I'm going to say sure again, because I like it. And if you were here in person, I would be saying it goofy too. So I'm not making fun of you. I'm just making fun of my own inability to read words or recall. But you told me how it was. Anyhow, Glenn says, get plants, they said. Yes, I agree, get plants, especially if you do not want to see your fish for the next 6 or 7 weeks. It seems I hardly put my tweezers and twazzles down, and this ungodly long black Shiite started growing. Anybody that thinks dandelions grow fast in the lawn haven't seen the likes of this black evil horrid stuff. For a while, it seemed like it was growing a ½ inch per day, and it covered everything in both of my tanks. It seemed like the more I fought it, the harder it grew. My wife heard words that she has not heard me say before, and I even made up some new ones. I watched hours of YouTube, and it did not take long to figure out that some people on there just want to make videos, and some really want to help. I want to thank people like Joel, Corey, John Hudson, and Dustin. The list is long, and I know I am missing a lot of others. It is people like you that made me decide to figure this aquarium thing out instead of driving over the whole damn thing with my truck. You gotta love that. You gotta love the. It gets frustrating. I understand. I'm attaching pictures of my about 87% and my about 79% hogshead tanks. If anybody was here for the, hogshead conversation, start measuring our tanks in hogsheads, and this is perfect. I like the math here. They're not great yet, but I'm still working on the problem. I realize I have a hodgepodge of plants that are scattered all over the place. I feel I had to be able to see them before I can place tall ones in the back, etc. Although the fish swim among these plants, how do I know if they enjoy it or have to? Am I restricting their swimming space? Again, all advice is thankfully accepted. Glenn. All right, that's a great post. I had a good time reading it. And by the way, yes, you get black algae, and it's rough, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a little bit annoying and frustrating. And I fully respect the, should I just run this over with my truck and be done with this? Because I've personally felt that way before, so it's not that far off from something that is definitely relatable. You know, I can understand that. I can 100% understand that. And it really is, when it comes down to, you've got algae, you got things going on, it can be frustrating. But it is a learning process. I noticed that you do have the blue gravel in there, which blue gravel's fine. It might just not be the most beneficial long term. It could really be, that it's not necessarily breaking things down as well as other substrates could. But I ain't mad at you. You probably do have to just kind of up the ante on some water changes and get your fertilizers kind of balanced out and stuff like that. And, you might need a light timer. You might need stuff like that. But most of the plants that you have there seem to be growing pretty well, and that's normally a good sign. It's a good sign that if you got things going on, plants are growing well, it's probably headed in the right direction. Chances of it all just falling apart, willy-nilly is probably not going to be the case. So I wouldn't be that stressed out. Take a deep breath. Remember that this is a fun hobby, and that's kind of the whole point. I got overwhelmed at one point in time where I had so many fish tanks that I was just like, I'm probably just going to have to take these and throw them out in the street. I've definitely been there. So I know I feel your pain, and, but keep it manageable, keep it maintained, and kind of do that kind of stuff and just kind of plod along. And remember, like, this time of year is a time of year to just kind of be enjoying it. Get your water changes done, and don't worry too much, because the winter is coming, right? Winter is coming. That's from the Jon Snow Broadway show. The Jon Snow Broadway show. It's just him like, winter is coming. Like, he would be all growly, right? Because he's tough. He's got a wolf sword. Anyhow, the second part of the question here. Well, there was more of a statement at the top, which I get it. But then I realize I have a hodgepodge of plants, blah, blah, blah. Although the fish swim among these plants, how do I know if they enjoy it or have to? I'm taking away their swimming space. Now, I will remind, gosh, I don't know what happened. Something got in my throat and I'm dying. I would remind everybody that we don't really have, most of us aren't keeping fish that would really be obstructed, by their swim space. Unless you have like a really small tank, the plants aren't really restricting their swimming space because, as you mentioned, like they'll swim right through the plants. And the thing is, I would say, whether or not fish enjoy plants, I don't know. But I would say it's definitely more beneficial for them to have a planted aquarium that is healthy, that does have all the little things that they can eat on a regular basis, that has more of a benefit of bacteria, of a beneficial oxygen, all that kind of stuff. It's just really one of those things. Like, if you're really on it for, maintaining your plants and stuff, it's going to be a much better environment for your fish. It's just kind of the reality. It's like, if you have a healthy garden, you'll probably have some bees and stuff and some birds and all the kind of good stuff that you want hanging around your garden. If you have like a really unhealthy garden, you probably end up with some ground nesting rat nonsense going on, right? So it definitely does come down to some of that stuff where you're just like, because you're doing good work with the ecosystem, it really boils down to being beneficial for the fish. So, and the plants just, they cruise right, fish just cruise right through the plants. Like, they're not really in the way. If you had some real open water swimming fish, but that's generally like really big fish. So, stuff that's going to need a 400, 1,000 gallon tank and stuff like that. So, if we have these we have these nice smaller mid-range, whatever you want to call them, size tanks, and things are going pretty well that way, the plants wouldn't be detrimental. If they got in the way, I think I would look at it this way. Like, if I was in the bushes and it was really hot and there was no oxygen, I wouldn't be concerned about the bushes, right? As a person, I'd be more concerned that it was really hot and there was no oxygen. But if there was like nice, cool, oxygenated air and I was in the bushes, I'd probably be like, this ain't a big deal. I'm just going to go through these bushes. I think like I'm adding human experience to a fish's experience, which maybe isn't the greatest thing in the world to do, but you know, anthropomorphification, right? Isn't that how that goes? It's like the Lion King. You know, these animals are animals. Just because the Lion King is a movie doesn't mean that they all know how to talk and sing and stuff. Jim Smith with a $2 super chat says, "Oh yeah, I forgot the free super chats." It's Nature Man with a $2 super chat, free super chat, and then a $2 super chat said, "Nope, not free." That's great. The Fish Keeperist with a $2 super chat says, "Your vid on the shadow pandas got me into Caridinus." That is awesome. I'm always excited when I hear there's like another person getting into shrimp keeping, especially if it's Caridinus, because somebody gotta breed those. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's a very few people that know where to get them in the wild. It's a closely guarded secret, so we need people to be keeping those in their tanks and breeding them, and that's awesome to hear because I'm a big fan. Jared RB throwing this down says, "I don't think it's technically a fish room," which I will argue. I will argue this all day and all night long. This is a fish room. This is a fish room. I will argue that all day long. Anyhow, but I got some comic book art up for the aquariums in my home office, and aquariums moved around from right to left. We got a 40 breeder, we got a 10-gallon, we got a 20-gallon long to be replaced by that 29-gallon on the floor. It's going bigger. Two 25-gallon cubes of the 18-inch variety. Damn it. I'm jealous of those. I want some 25-gallon cubes. We'll talk later. But I do want some 25-gallon cubes at some point in time. Those are awesome. 18 inches, 18 by 18 by 18. One 5-gallon and a 50-ounce aquarium, counting the sub. The cell phone photo is crooked, not the aquariums. One vacation well spent. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw this the first time, and I read down to the bottom, and it was like the photo is crooked, you know, not my aquariums and stuff. I almost wanted to grab this image and crop it down in Photoshop, and I think I still might, but I always felt like it was just kind of rude if I was going to be like interjecting with my crop and whatnot. But it's a beautiful room, and that's rad, man. I'd love to have some comic books near my aquariums. I'm afraid they get ruined though, because they get all moist. Soren Albigard, probably said your name 100% wrong. The $5 DKK. I don't know what the DKK is. I don't know what type of money is that. Let me see. I think we looked this up once, right? I think we did. Whoa. Almost hit that. DKK is the Danish krone. Oh, I should know that. That's that Danish money. That's the Danish krone, you guys. I should know that because my family's from Denmark. I don't know. I should know what the 3-letter thing. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that I would know the 3-letter what's that acronym? Oh, I'm losing it, guys. I didn't know that, and now we know it, and let's move on. Anyhow, Jim Smith, he's got a confession. I like overgrown aquariums just as much as scape tanks. I prefer them to be clean and not a mass of diatom algae. But otherwise, the wilder looking, the better. I like that. I like that thought process there, and it definitely makes a lot of sense. It definitely does make a lot of sense. And here's the thing. Like, if it's good, like if it's a good tank with healthy plants and it looks good, like I don't care what the style is unless the person that made the tank was like super arrogant and trying to tell me that it was like some other thing. You know what I mean? Like if somebody had a nature style aquarium and they were like adamantly being mean to me about how like it's not a nature style aquarium, it's an Iwagumi, and just be like, keep your negativity away from me, or I'm gonna get super mad. Right? That's really just how it goes. That's kind of how it goes down. A lot of people have brought their super negativity to me, and I'm kind of one of those people that's like, I just don't care. I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm adamant that people shouldn't be doing bad things, but I just don't care. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it goes. I feel like there are probably some people in this world that don't ever reach that level of maturity, which I feel like is a very low level of maturity because I'm a huge goofball, which is weird. Like, I'm a goofball. I'm always goofing around. I have a pretty dry sense of humor, so I think people don't realize I'm joking as much as I am because my face makes me look like some kind of weird, German scientist. My buddy John used to give me a hard time about that. That the first time that he met me, he thought I was some kind of German scientist, because I was wearing a shirt and a tie. But John's dead now, which is sad, and that makes me sad. So I'm gonna try and think about the happy times when I spent with John. But I think that's kind of the reality. I think there's a lot of people that maybe just don't ever reach that level of maturity that, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just not thinking. Maybe they're just not thinking. Maybe they're thinking too much. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I got onto that, but it's weird. My brain's weird today. But Jim, I agree with you. I like overgrown aquariums just as much as scape tanks if they're doing good. If they're doing well, it's doing well. You know what I mean? And that's good stuff. Oh, big dreams. I'm hashtag triggered. My OCD. I wish I had OCD, but this would drive me nuts. I don't actually have OCD, and I'm not making fun of OCD people, but this would drive me nuts. This would make me lose my mind. I'm gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. Big Dream says, I finished my house fish tank move, except everything went well. Okay, except the next morning I noticed my tank isn't centered over the stand. WTF, LOL, BRB. I totally missed that. Word to the wise, don't move your tank late at night. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Word to the wise, don't move your tank late at night. It's been a week and the tank hasn't cracked yet. Do you think it's okay as is, or should I move it? It's resting on top of a 3/4 inch plywood board on top of a metal stand. Glass corner seems to be over plywood, but the black frame is overhanging a bit. I'll tell you, this is not enough to affect the tank. It will be fine. Now, if something happens and this tank breaks, don't get super mad at me because I told you that it was going to be fine. But this, in my experience, a tank being off by, this is like 1/8 of an inch, is not enough to twist it or bend it or anything like that. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos with people with broken tanks and stuff like that, and I'm always suspicious. I get those super suspicious eyes where I'm like, oh, really? Did this tank break? Because it's the easiest, stupidest clickbait thing ever. And the reason I say that is because it has always been the stupidest clickbait thing ever since the kid breaks aquarium lifting weights and yells at his mom. I don't know if anybody has ever seen that video. That video has been on YouTube forever, and it was one of the original, I don't know if I want to say original viral videos, but it's one of them that's was super early. People saw it. It got millions and millions and millions of views. It was something that went viral a long, long time ago, and people have been trying to replicate that success for a really long time. So I get that skeptical going on whenever I see my fish tank broke, and it's like the thumbnail's like, right? I make those faces all the time too. So trust me, I'm making fun of myself a little bit also. Yeah, this tank will be fine. I wouldn't worry about it all that much. Telescope Aquatics says, I think the tank will be fine as well. A couple years ago, I had two 20-gallon tanks next to each other, and one was just hanging off, and it never broke. Yeah, I've had tons of tanks, over the years. I've had lots and lots and lots of aquariums, and a black plastic framed glass tank hanging off this little bit. You'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Just remember to re-silicone your tanks every 7 years, folks. The recommendation on re-siliconing an aquarium is every 7 years. If you want to be aggressive, you're supposed to re-silicone it every 5 years. But just like people's showers and bathrooms and stuff like that, there's a lot of people out there not re-siliconing, even though that's the recommendation. One of the big deals that, like, why the $1 per gallon sale is so cool is that if you have a tank that's like 6 years old and you're like, oh, wow, I got to re-silicone this thing, or time for a rescape because you're going to go buy one for $1 a gallon. I don't know. It sounds like the laziest thing I've ever said, but it's reality. Maybe take that tank, put it outside, do some summer plant growing or plant breeding outside, and not worry about the silicone ever again. Because if it breaks, it's outside. Anywho, Johan sends this in. We have a reveal, you guys. We have a reveal. Not only is Johan jacked, he's looking all jacked, works out. He's all tatted up. Johan, you're making me jealous, man. I'm jealous of Johan, you guys. I'll admit it. I'm a big enough guy to admit that I'm jealous of Mr. Johan and what's going on here. Anyhow, he says, hey, Joel, I've already worked for over 14 years at a laboratory where we inspect samples with all kinds of man-made mineral fibers like rock wool or asbestos, which is super exciting because you guys know I don't care about asbestos at all other than to not breathe it in. But rock wool, you guys, I'm super dork when it comes to rock wool. I'm very excited about that he gets to look at the electron microscope looking at the rock wool. So that electron microscope, as we were wondering before, we were pondering aimlessly about like how much does this electron microscope cost? 80,000, between 80,000 and 100,000 euro, which is well over 100,000 American, maybe 130,000 euro, something like that. As he mentions, you can buy a house for that amount here, which I'm kind of jealous if you can buy a house for 80,000 euro. That's a pretty stinking good deal. Maybe Vicky and I should sell off all of our stuff and move out there. I don't know. They probably wouldn't take us. We don't have electron microscope degrees. Whatever that is. After my vacation, I will make pictures of velvet for Alyssa, but ick is way more difficult. First, I have to collect it, keep it alive, which that's hard. That's going to be hard to do. And when I put it in the SEM, which is the scanning electron microscope, it will be in a vacuum, so I don't know how that will happen then. What is this? Sorry, I got distracted by a notification. Anyhow, I put it in, it will be in a vacuum, so I don't know how that will happen then. Most organic material also shrinks because of the heat. When I have the chance, I certainly will try it. Yeah, I don't know. This almost feels like a ton of work minus any kind of return. I don't know. I don't know. Hey. I don't know if it's worth the return. I think I would honestly just, whatever biologist is into researching ick, I think I would leave it up to those guys, because this sounds like a tremendous amount of work to try and get ick into the electron microscope. But if you can, and it's something that you really wanted to do already, I would go for it. Johan sent us, under the electron microscope, some asbestos. Alyssa says, but why wouldn't you want that in your lungs? Why is DSLR video shooter uploading a video right now? I want to watch Caleb's video, but we're making a video about fish and asbestos, apparently. Asbestos! Sorry, guys. I was sitting on my foot, and it is completely asleep, and I've got the needles. Oh, foot, I hate you right now. But I'm going to love you in a minute when you no longer are asleep. Oh! Oh, it's the worst. Okay. Okay, we're past the hard part. We'll be fine now. Anyhow, yeah, don't get asbestos in your lungs. It sucks. You get mesothelioma, and that is not fun. A lot of lawsuits out here over mesothelioma. So what do we got here? Is that a fly's face? This looks like a fly's face. What is this? A fly. Oh, a fly. Ah! Ah! It feels good to be right once in a blue moon. Oh, I'm going to make sure the picture's on there so you guys get to see it. That is cool. That is cool. I need one of these. I just need like 100,000 euro to throw out there and get me one of these things. Ooh! Now here's what's cool. We even got a fish of the week from Johan, which is rad. The shovel-nosed catfish, otherwise known as the lima, the sorubim. I don't know if it's sorubim. I've always known these as shovel-nosed catfish. I've always heard them. That's always been the name. Sorubim lima. I've seen a lima catfish. I've seen shovel-nose is by far and away like how I always see them listed out here, though. It's a species of shovel-nosed catfish that is common throughout the Amazon and parts of South America. Their name originates from their flat, rounded heads, which they use like a shovel to dig in the substrate for various food items. In the wild, the Lima shovel-nosed catfish spends much of its time moving around on the bottom of rivers and tributaries looking for small crustaceans and fish species to consume. And by the way, I would remind everybody out there that, yeah, shovel-nosed cat, this ain't no walk in the park. You better be ready. You better be a monster fish keeper. If you ain't a monster fish keeper, do not get a shovel-nosed cat. You aren't ready. Don't be one of those dudes that's like, I've been keeping fish for 3 months. I know what's up. I'm going to get a shovel-nosed cat. You better have some experience before you get into having one of these. It's a lot of food. It's a lot of money for food. It's a lot of care. So be prepared. Anyhow, sorry for the sidebar there. Lima shovelnose also position themselves vertically near tree roots and similar structures, waiting for unsuspecting fish to swim nearby. While they are an aggressive predatory species, the Lima shovelnose is one of the smaller Pimelodidae. I don't know. Probably saying that wrong. Pimelodidae. D-A. I don't know. Family species reaching between 14 and 18 inches within the aquarium environment. I've never owned one of these myself, but I have been around a lot of these fish, and they're cool. They're awesome, but do not be rookie or what I would put myself at. Enthusiast. You want to be enthusiast and pro. You don't want to be down on that intermediate area. You want to be in the upper echelon of having a lot of experience with these guys. In their native habitat, they grow between 14 to 18 inches, which isn't the biggest fish in the world, but they are going to be fairly difficult to take care of. In their native habitat, Lima shovel-nosed catfish consume a wide variety of small crustaceans, fish, insects, and worms. They will readily accept these same foods within the aquarium environment, or they can be fairly easily weaned from these foods to more economic pellet foods, crickets, and earthworms, and added benefit of pellet foods. That has not been my experience. I have not seen them. I have not seen them do well with pellets. It's always been like live food, stuff like that, just like the expensive stuff. You basically just think any like expensive fish food, that's what you need to get. Kind of deal. Earthworms and similar foods is that they do not spread diseases like feeder fish can, and provide more nutritious and balanced diet for the Lima shovel nose. Care level, moderate. Temperament, aggressive. Water temperature, 73 degrees. All the way up to like 85, somewhere around there. I wouldn't go too hot with them, but you don't want to go cold either. You don't want that to be dipping down. Trevor's wondering if they're hard to breed. I don't really have any experience with breeding them, so I don't even think I could give good advice other than just the standard, like, good food, good water. You guys, you just really want to, like, make sure that you have, like, good water if you're going to breed your fish. I don't really know what good water is, but it's got to be good. Okay. Anyhow, sorry. I'm a little snarky today. It's the end of the week, and I got a million things to do. I still have to build another computer. Oy. Anyhow, it's all good. It's all good, you guys. Don't worry about it. It's July. We're freaking out. We're going wild. I'm just being a little snarky. Oh, Neil, making it rain with the $1 super chats. Well, thank you, Neil. Very much. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. We all gotta pay that rent, right? The mortgage. We all gotta pay that mortgage. Honestly, if people are wondering what Vicky and I are trying to do, we're trying to be mortgage free. Like, that's our plan. That is our sneaky plan. Our sneaky plan is to be mortgage free. That's our plan. We don't want to have a mortgage payment. We don't want to have a car payment. We basically want to pay food, water, light, insurance, and that be it. So, you think about it, like, that's the biggest bill. Like, if you could knock if there was one bill that you could take away, right? In the U.S., I don't know what it's like in other countries. Maybe in other countries it's something else. But in the U.S., if there was a bill that you could get rid of, right? It's that rent, it's that mortgage, it's that end of the month. Boom, shakalaka boom, right? Yeah, obviously we'd still have to pay property taxes and all that kind of stuff, but that's the one. That's the one killer. Because if we weren't paying that, we talked about this before, and I got a lovely I opened up the Discord today. I got some great messages about how there is a Canon C200 for sale, a used one, and it is really a good deal at $7,000. At $7,000, it's got like all the peripherals with it. That's a good deal. It doesn't mean I have $7,000, but I was actually thinking about it. I was like, man, if we hadn't been paying the mortgage, I could probably get a new camera that only does video, which is the whole thing I'm trying to move into, and not be too worried about shooting stills anymore. Especially because I watched a video with Kai the other day that really, really hammered home. It's like Sony just came out with a new camera 3 days ago, and they went with like 70 megapixels or something. I forget what they went with. 60 megapixels. They went with this camera that shoots these giant pictures, which is awesome. It's totally rad. But you don't really need all that for stills, Shooting stills is just all about get your light right, get your exposure right, make sure it's in focus, have an eye for composition, like what do you want this picture to be, and you're gonna do fine. Film's a little bit different, you know. Moving pictures. It's their moving pictures. See, yeah, right. Anyhow, let's get back to the Patreon questions. The algae in this tank has gotten almost majestic, but I think I should do some work on it this weekend. One of my shrimp is up at the top there, slogging through a swamp of green hair algae, but it keeps them shrimplets safe. Yeah, that's true. You know, that's one of those things. I would 100% say remove some of the algae just to keep it down, keep it knocked down or whatever. But shrimp love being all up in that algae mess. All the infusoria, the little tiny critters and microorganisms and all that stuff that they're looking to eat, and that biofilm is super thick. That's what shrimps are looking for. Realistically, that's their primary food. You know, they don't necessarily want to be scavenging around finding old rotten, flake food or any of that kind of nonsense. They will. That ain't their main source of food intake. You know what I'm saying? Their main source is all them little microscopics and all that kind of stuff growing on. Algae is a great place for all that to be growing. Michael Sarr sent this in this morning. So the Meadow LA 45 came in today. The media in my filter is flowing around pretty good now. I cracked open this 8-year-old Hako 40 to find both of the diaphragms. I think that's a autocorrect. Both of the diaphragms have holes, so it's time for a rebuild. I put a set in it 4 years ago, so I guess I can't complain. Ooh, yeah, diaphragms go, but if you're somebody that can actually rebuild an air pump, it's definitely worth it to be able to get like a big air pump like this. If you're somebody that can rebuild it cheaply, you can really, it's something that you can have for a really, really long time. And if you're somebody that can rebuild it, replace it, do that kind of stuff, can actually really become cost effective over a certain amount of time, especially compared to these smaller air pumps and stuff like that. I think recently, messing around with those little USB air pumps from the Aquarium Co-op, those are really cool. A really cool item. I wish that they were strong enough to run the Zis filter, but I do have a video where I messed around with those a bunch and kind of show you guys like what you can and can't do with it. So. This is a pretty cool. Setup. I'm glad to see that there's another one. There's some little commentary on here. It still works, but I'm betting the flow is reduced. I think the long term, the piston pumps might be a better deal, but they use more power, so it might be a wash. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like the piston pumps do typically last longer, but they are more expensive. So. That just kind of really depends on your budget. Sometimes you just, sometimes you do want a Ferrari and you just can't afford it. And so you just end up, getting a Toyota instead. Right. But either way, if it's getting you from point A to point B and, if your budget says just buy a new diaphragm and swap it out, that might be the way to go. But, I really, like I mentioned before, I really like those Alita air pumps. If you need a big one for a big project like this, If you need a big one, get an Alita pump. That's just kind of the go-to recommendation. There probably are other good air pumps out there that are linear piston, but Alita is the one I know it actually works. The Fish Tank Barn, M. Howie 9, who was a $5 super chat earlier. Super generous. Thank you, brother. New tanks for the Fish Tank Barn, adding some new tanks to the barn. My original plan was to make 2 plywood 180-gallon tanks. I have completed the first tank, pick on your left, but I was offered a great deal on a 6-foot 125, so I went ahead and scratched the building the second tank to save time. I will update guys as these tanks progress. That's pretty good. That's not a bad deal. I think if somebody's hooking up 125, sometimes you just got to go for it. You know what I mean? You're just like, yeah, work on this thing a whole bunch, or just go get a 125 in my dad van, right? It's like kind of a no-brainer, I think. So congrats, and I look forward to seeing those projects because I love checking out the fish tank barn. Let's see, who do we got here? Rumbust sent this in, found another item to show you. He's all about doing the 3D printing with these, which is great. I like that. I think it's good at the very least that I think it's good that at the very I'm yawning. I think it's good that at the very least we can get some of these designs like kind of figured out and share the designs out and stuff like that and get certain things printed that could make a piece of equipment work a lot better than even the people that made it. Big D Smoke says I got 2 of them this week. Oh, from the little USB air pumps. I wish they could run the Zis, but it's just not enough air. But I got a different plan. The different plan I have is the little corner filter sponge filters. It actually runs those. So you can actually get that little tiny sponge filter, and for somebody like me, I don't know what that was. Something fell on the ground, and I don't know what it was. But if you, a guy like me, I could just put that sponge filter with the little USB pump down in my sump, and it's going to do the exact same thing that I wanted it to do, which is simulate a power outage and what to do when your power's out. Like those USB pumps and a couple of the USB battery banks, that's just going to be a game changer for people that, that when their power goes out, you know what I mean? Like your power goes out, it's something that you can actively do. Oh, I also forgot to mention we have a brand new Patreon today. Warren, who I mentioned earlier, that was during the show. It's Nature Man. It's Nature Man coming in big on the Patreon too. Not only a member on the YouTube channel, but also a Patreon. Oh man, that's a double whammy. We're gonna have to put a birthday candle in your birthday candle cake. Is that how that works? I'm unsure. I think that's how it works. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. There we go. Let's go over here. Yeah. Okay. And where were we? Oh, yeah. So Rumbust actually sent this in. Kind of similar to the first one, but this one is on another tank, and it directs the flow of water towards the surface as well as slows it down a little with its trumpet shape. Ooh, I like that. It's the trumpet attachment. It's the trumpet-shaped attachment. Trumpet-shaped. Get yourself a trumpet shape. And sometimes we gotta get quiet and sing into the microphone. What's this thing? Oh, I know what that thing is. Don't sing that. Whoa, what did I do? Oh, no. Oh, here we go. I changed the thing. That went wild there for a second. Oh, there we go. Aw. Oh, it's not framed up properly. I wonder if I can move it. Hold on, let me see. There it is. Oh, it went full screen. Stop going full screen. Oh, it won't do it. I have to frame it up right. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Finally, someone has made a moving bed filter that runs off air and fits into our aquariums. We don't have to try and DIY them anymore. These units are great because they come with an easy-to-remove intake. Boom. Sorry, that was unintentional, guys. I accidentally am just malfunctioning on the show. But Rumbust, I love the little trumpet attachment, and that actually makes sense. If you're turning the, if you're turning that to kind of break the surface a little bit, makes sense. Let's see. Oh, here we go. And Rumbust sent this in. As a side note, I now despise Alyssa slightly for talking about my aquariums and pink slime last Friday. I've never seen this stuff before, but here it is. I found it today on this airline and already hate it. Thankfully, there's a lid on this tank, so I only have to see it when looking down into the back of it. Oh, I must have. Kind of dying. Kind of dying a little bit over here, but don't worry. It's kind of weird that I'm the only one doing this show, and then I'm like, into the microphone. Sorry, guys. My bad. Where is my mouse? It's way over there. Clicking on the wrong things. But thanks for sending that in, Rumbus. I know. It's just like Murphy's Law, you know, like Alyssa will get on here, talk about, it's like talk about pink slime and that kind of stuff. Be like, what's that? And then next week it's like, oh, it's in my tank now. Great. That's awesome. Where's my mouse? Okay, my mouse is over here. I got to make the mouse like not visible. There, that's better. Now you can't see the mouse. And now you can't see the mouse. Uh-oh. You can't see the mouse at all. All right, cool. Okay, anyhow, let's go to the video because we only got a couple of minutes, guys. I'm sorry. That's life. Where is... Yeah, the plant that I wanted to talk about today, the Scarlet Temple. Do I even have... I wonder if I have... I think that's the... Yeah. That's the link for it. That'll take you over to go check out the old Scarlet Temple if you're into it. If you're into the Scarlet Temple situation and you wanted to go check it out, I think you should. I think you should be somebody that goes to check it out. They go, they check it out. Next thing you know, they got some Scarlet Temple. I would highly recommend anybody to go definitely check out Scarlet Temple. It's an awesome plant. There it is up there in the background. Because the video I shot earlier was on a corrupted card of some sort. I don't even understand what happened. So I'm having to run some old video here. But I will try to track around with the arrow. Better known as Alternanthera renekii, always confuses people. There's the Scarlet Temple. I have two types. I have the plain big red one, and I have the small... grows more compact, smaller one. Now, the compact, smaller one, you could probably be replicating this right here, sort of yourself. Really wouldn't be all that difficult to try and get it to grow compact and stuff. It's just growing a little more compact because, guess what? It's just more selectively trimmed and grown and that kind of stuff. And then eventually you propagate it. You can propagate the smaller version. Yep, it's not that big of a deal. If you put your mind to it, you put the time into it, you'd probably be able to come out with some of the mini yourself if you start out with the standard Scarlet Temple. But if you're a beginner, intermediate, or even experienced, and you've just never really gotten this plant before, 100% would just recommend to go pick it up. It uses a little bit of fertilizer, nothing too crazy, a little bit of CO2, nothing too crazy, and a little bit of light, but nothing too crazy. That's kind of the whole reason for some of these kind of specific plants, like that tiger lotus in the back there. That's the bomb. But most of the plants that are carried at Aquarium Co-op are pretty, intermediate, gonna have good success plants. That's the whole point. Good quality sourced plants from a good company. It has good shipping, all that kind of stuff, and it does happen. And you do end up having the happening of a success. There we go. I'm ridiculous sometimes. Anyhow, but I have the Scarlet Temple. I have a great time with it, and so I can recommend it to you guys. I was going to answer some of your questions. I don't seem to have any Scarlet Temple questions other than, it is a stem plant. So what you're basically going to do is get it shipped in, float it in your tank for a little bit, get it planted into the substrate, and then as it converts/grows in your tank, you trim the tops off, take those tops, replant them in down below, and take that old stem and float it somewhere until you get a chance to trim that into something else. Or just compost it, recycle it, and just keep doing that. So as it grows up, then you trim like the top 6 inches off, take that, plant that down, and you can propagate from that other stem by leaving it into the substrate as it'll root and eventually send out some new shoots out the top of it and stuff like that. But you can do it, and I do it a lot, but watch out. You get in the habit of doing that too much, and the next thing you know, you got way too many plants, and you start to lose your mind. And you're like, where did all these plants come from? I'm going crazy. So, just take it easy with that, and you just want to make sure you got that going on. Jim Smith says, does it need added iron to stay red? Now, this is one of those plants that's just going to grow red, essentially. It's not always going to grow red, but if you do have, like, a decent amount of light on it and some kind of some kind of fertilization, you could probably have this plant in a tank that you're just feeding with fish food and fish waste and stuff like that. Like, that can work. It's really weird to get this to not grow red because the only time the leaves are really growing not red is when it's immersed. So if it's above the water, it'll grow red, and then eventually the top of the leaves will grow green once it grows tall enough out of the water. Which, by the way, you can grow this like way out the top of the water, but it's going to be extremely difficult to try and plop it into an immersed setup. So allow it to grow up over the water line is a much better plan, and you'll probably have a lot more success if you're trying to grow it up that way instead of just getting it and trying to grow it immersed. Hopefully that makes sense. Warren Williams says, dang, just missed my Patreon post. Yeah, I refreshed the Patreon post page at, like 2 o'clock or something like that. Maybe it was 1 o'clock today. But never fear. If you ever Patreon post up, I will get to it. It will happen. It might even be Monday or something like that. But don't worry. We will get to it. OB is asking, can you do piranha impression, please, bro? Hashtag Fluval's tripping. I don't know how to do a piranha impression. I don't know how to do that. Yes, I am crazy. YA crazy. All right, everyone. Great stream. Got to go. See you soon. All right. Check you later. While everybody's here, go ahead and hit that like button so that people know that you like it. Go ahead and hit the share button. I posted the thumbnail into the Discord with the bit.ly link, so if anybody wants to share this video out there, that makes it super easy. You can just copy the bit.ly link and the thumbnail. Makes it way easier to do. And feel free to use any of the thumbnail pictures I post onto the Discord and stuff like that. I'm going to keep posting more and more of them up on there in case people want to, make their own thing or something or whatever, or put it as a backdrop on their phone or whatever you guys want to do with them. Feel free. So that's all good. Anyhow, I'm going to catch you guys all sooner than later. It's going to be sooner than later. And I want to give a big shout out because, I have to give a shout out. It's just a thing that you got to do. To Rumbus, The Fish Tank Barn, John Gonzalez, Stephen Calkins, Jim Smith, It's Nature Man, Fishkeeperist, Soren, Albagard, Neil, for your super chats today. Very much appreciate it. 100%. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend out there. And don't get too squirrely. Hopefully you do not light off any more fireworks because that is just driving me nuts. And don't burn anything down. All right. Later.